Okay, guys, sup? It's your boy Dark Raku here with What If Issei Was Ichigo's Kurosaki's Cousin, Part 2. Now, before I go on, for Part 1, I didn't really want to end it off as well, mostly the part where he was kind of being trained with, was it called Uriya? Or Urahara? Probably because I wanted to actually get into the Soul Society arc, but yeah. But let me actually do it in this What If, since, well, last part was actually pretty rushed, or not even rushed. Mostly at the end it was pretty rushed because I had to go charge my phone 5% only. The reason why I couldn't really like leave it, kind of pause and then come back and charge it, or my phone would have probably died and I probably would have lost the footage. So I said fuck that and decided to just end it off there. So yeah, so let me begin into this what if, and yeah. So we go into Issei. Issei is right now taking a short nap. Of course, where Uryu, or Urahara, not Uryu, Urahara is right now looking at, well, Issei. Of course, where the others are kind of seeing this, but mostly, well, Urahara is very confused with Issei. His swords, they seem to be much more powerful than normal. Actually, they don't even look like normal Zanpakutos. The reason why is because the Zanpakutos would have had a normal color for blade, just normal blade color. Even if it was in kind of, or in the first stage of release, it would have been normal. It would have still been a normal kind of blade, or maybe kind of shifted into whatever Issei has. But the reason is his blades, which he didn't see them actually, it was actually quite confusing. It was too bright. When he did twin, mostly he doesn't remember what it's called. It was called twin slash something, but he didn't remember what it was called. Of course, he's still pretty wounded. Of course, he's right now getting bandages and of course getting medicine on it. But yeah, this is where, well, Urahara says, "Who are you, Issei? You seem to be much more powerful than Ichigo himself. And that energy, why does it seem familiar? Like I have met someone. Well, it's better to just train you right now so you can go to the Soul Society to help your, I guess, Oni-san." It's still funny. So I believe that that Ichigo had actually a younger cousin. Why didn't he ever decide to let me ever meet him? He's so mean. This is where Urahara is just acting childish most of the time. This is where, oh, we go into mostly, well, a couple of days time skip. This is where Issei, he is much more improved in battle, or mostly throughout the whole 3 days of him fighting against Urahara, he actually became much more, so much stronger. Well, mostly gooder, well, a better and controlling of his, what's it called, Ryatsu. But yeah. Now, there's one thing and problem. Issei can't fully control all his Ryatsus. There's too much of it. Literally too much of it. Urahara had to explain that mostly Issei probably has a bottomless pit of Ryatsu. Of course, with that happening, he also kind of decides to tell Issei that he would need seals on his body. Well, mostly restriction seals. So of course he kind of gave him like some restriction seals on his arms and legs to kind of restrict his Ryatsu from flowing out from his body too much, even on his chest, but yeah. But he would have also given him an eye patch similar to that of Zaraki Kanpachi, but it would look too weird on a child, so yeah. So this is where, well, mostly, well, that happening, he didn't really want to give him an eye patch, so yeah. Now, there's one thing that he also gave Issei, were some black shade glasses. The reason why is because of his eyes, since they seem to be quite special. His eyes are right now into a golden star pattern, but of course having blue, kind of like a blue sky kind of color in his eyes. Mostly his, instead of being pupils, are a golden star like I mentioned, but yeah, it's this one right here. This one, don't worry, I'll mention that later. This is where, well, Issei does put on the dark shades, right now annoyed of Urahara, kind of mentioning about his eyes being special, blah blah blah. Pretty much Issei sees through his eyes normally. There's nothing really special about them. Well, kinda. There's some things that he noticed pretty quick when he was kind of training with Urahara. But he didn't really tell Urahara that any of that. He instead wanted to keep it kind of secret. Urahara did try to provide some, mostly some information from Issei, but Issei didn't want to. He kind of usually stuck out his tongue at Urahara. Urahara was sad, but yeah. Of course, where Urahara decides to open a gate for Issei to go in. Now, of course, Issei is going in. Of course, this is where the vacuum actually appears. But Issei is much more faster than the vacuum itself. This is where, Issei got out of, mostly the portal. And of course, appeared in, what's it called, that one district. This is where, he's looking around. It's called Rukan District. And this is where or not Rukan District, mostly Urahara's. Or, I don't remember what it's called. Is it? I don't remember. This is where, he's looking around. And of course, where, he sees, a lot of buildings, a lot of old-timey buildings. And of course, this is where he's looking also in front of him where he appeared and sees a giant gate. Pretty big and big-ass walls. This is where he's pretty shocked. Now, of course, he did get told by Urahara that mostly there's going to be a giant gate. And that giant gate will mostly keep, mostly his cousin and his cousin's friends being inside it. So, yeah. Of course, where Issei nodded and says, so you want me to break into it? Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. This is where, Issei nodded. And of course, this is where, Issei is now in this place. This is where Issei starts walking towards the gate. Of course, this is where I should mention his coat, which I did mention last time, but it's quite different from a normal, coat of a Soul Reaper. It's a darker kind of, it's not black, but it's kind of dark blue. Dark blue and reddish color, but yeah. This is where, he's walking up to the kind of, gate. This is where the gate is pretty close, and this is where he can feel that, not feel that it's kind of thick, but kind of feels like his energy being drained a little bit. This is where, or just being destroyed or something. Because of the whole, it's mostly a powerful material that mostly kind of drains that of a user. Or suppresses it. I don't remember what it was called. But this is where, Issei notices, and this is where Issei kind of just breathes in and then breathes out. This is where, Issei's hand right now glowed with a very brightish whitish color. And this is where Issei then punches the wall. This is where nothing happened for a couple of seconds. This is where he takes his arm back. And this is where the wall, mostly the door, exploded. Literally, the splinters of wooden pieces actually flew out of, mostly in front of Issei. Issei did some kind of technique that actually allows him to explode it. This is where Issei walks through, and of course there was actually guards of Soul Reapers actually in the other side. And when these Soul Reapers notice Issei, they say, another Ryoka. This is where, Issei said, huh? What's a Ryoka? Whatever. You people are in my way. Out of my way. This is where Issei kind of closed his eyes and of course then opened them. And this is where a spiritual, an energy just smashes upon everyone, knocking them all out. This is where, he mostly kind of they didn't really see his eyes, but mostly an energy smashes all upon everyone. Think of it like Conqueror's Hawking, which it is. It's mostly a type of Conqueror's Hawking that he actually learned throughout the little training that he had. Mostly something that he kind of created. Because he has too much spiritual energy that he actually created a couple of things when he was kind of fighting with Urahara. But yeah. Mostly, some of those techniques is like the one technique that he used against the door. He kind of covered his fist with Ryotsu. And of course, this is where, it was invisible. But he also sent energy into the kind of object, into a thick object, exploding in an instant. Think of it like advanced armament hockey. Now, the thing that he just sent against everyone was kind of like Conqueror's Hawking, but just normal Conqueror's Hawking. And it wasn't advanced just yet. But this is where, it's not really called Conqueror's Hawking. Actually, should I call it just Conqueror's Hawking? Fuck it. It's the same thing. Conqueror's Hawking is basically the will, mostly the spirit's will, and Rialsu is kind of spiritual, well, mostly pressure. So, yeah, it's mostly called Hawking. So, yeah. But of course, some other people can learn this. It's just, mostly Issei got an easier way to kind of learn this because he has too much Rialsu. Literally, too much. This is where, well, we go into Issei kind of, well, walking out of the district, or mostly walking out of, well, the place that he just came in through. This is where, well, he's kind of walking around, and of course, managing to get out of any view of anyone that tries to find him, but yeah, he mostly senses when there are people coming towards him. This is where, well, he doesn't use it too much because he just doesn't care. He's looking for his kind of, well, older cousin, who was Ichigo. But yeah, he's looking around, but he kind of got lost. Yes, he did get lost. This is where, well, he's saying, damn it, how the hell did I get lost? This is where, well, he's kind of underneath a place. And when he's kind of walking around this underneath place, mostly downstairs, he kind of finds a bunch of bodies right now dead. This is where blood is all splattered around. And when he checks on it, he says, it seems the blood is dried up. This is where someone says, I wasn't actually expecting someone to be here. Issei turns around in an instant, right now on guard, right now having both of his fists up in the air. This is where he sees someone with glasses and brownish hair, right now also having that of like a coat outfit. He doesn't know what a coat outfit is, but it kind of looks to have like similar outfit towards his. This is where, well, mostly this person is surprised to see a young child, to be almost the age of 14 maybe. But this kid is right now down with him, seeing the blood and massacre. But also, one thing is surprising to him. The kid seemed to wear a different outfit than that of a Soul Reaper most of the time. Does he wear, well, the person grunts at Issei and saying, interesting. Tell me, who are you? Should I be saying that to you, Mr. Glasses? Does he wear, well, mostly the person chuckles at, well, Issei's antics and says, oh, you don't know my name. Then you can call me Aizen. This is where Issei says, Aizen? Can I call you Aizawa? This is where, well, Aizen chuckles and says, no. But, tell me, what's your name? Fine, you call me, okay, Issei. This is where, well, no last name? I can't really tell you my last name because my mother has always scolded at me to never tell a stranger my last name, so I don't know. Okay, fine. Well, that's interesting there, kid. Tell me, why aren't you scared of the dead bodies that's right behind you? Don't know. I don't seem interested in it. Don't really care. But still, who exactly are you anyway, Aizen? This is where Issei kind of said, kind of mocking, but at the same time wasn't mocking, mostly questioning Aizen. This is where, well, Aizen is walking towards Issei. And this is where, well, you're quite interesting. I also kind of noticed suppression seals on you. Like they're trying to hide from Rialsu. No, that's not a thing. This is where Issei says, I don't know what you're talking about. This is where Issei is right now kind of doing some stuff and like trying to show that those aren't restriction seals, those are just part of his outfit. This is where, well, Aizen is chuckling, seeing Issei. This is where Aizen is walking towards him. This is where he then flashed it right in front of Issei, but this is where Issei jumped away pretty fast. This is where Aizen was about to just grab him in the head, and this is where, well, he kind of noticed Issei's speed. He kind of narrowed his eyes and says, you're pretty fast, child. Pretty fast. You reacted fast enough also. Yeah. Well, whoever you are, I don't really care. So, go away. This is where, well, Aizen chuckles at mostly Issei's antics. This is where, well, Issei said, should I? This is where something almost slashes at him. This is where Issei managed to jump out of the way and managed to duck at the same time. This is where, well, the thing that kind of almost hit him was a sword. This is where, well, he looks to the other side because there's two sides of entrance. And this is where he sees, well, someone with white hair and, of course, having his eyes closed. This is where, well, Aizen narrows his eyes and says, "Ah, Genichi," or mostly Genichimaru. "What are you doing here?" Genichimaru says, "I'm just wondering why there's a child here." "I don't know neither, but it's quite interesting." This is where, well, mostly Issei is looking at Aizen and then Genichimaru. This is where, well, he narrows his eyes, but this is where, well, Genichimaru says, "Should I take him out?" Aizen says, maybe. This is where, well, Genichimaru right now sends another sword strike at Issei, but this is where Issei managed to dodge, and right now this is where, well, something appears in his hand, right now being flowing, kind of a glowing color, like if he was going to send a powerful Ryasu punch at, what's it called, mostly Genichimaru, but this is where he doesn't do that. He instead kind of jumps back and kind of is right now, well, it's not glowing, it's mostly invisible, but it kind of has like trans color. Now, of course, this is where, well, mostly Aizen has seen this. This is where Genichimaru sends another sword slash, well, mostly using his Shinkai release. This is where it was about to hit Issei, but this is where Issei then uses both of his arms to block the attack, which it didn't even pierce his skin. It looks like it's kind of floating in midair. This is where Issei narrows his eyes. This is where Issei kind of, well, keeps looking at Genichimaru. Genichimaru was surprised, saying, "Huh? That's surprising." This is where Issei rushes at Genichimaru with blinding speed now. Genichimaru was surprised also. This is where he narrowed his eyes instantly. Well, not narrowed them, mostly widened them when seeing Issei appear right behind him. This is where Genichimaru was about to use his sword to, well, stab upon Issei, but this is where Issei managed to use his hand to block it, mostly push his arm away, and then grab, what's it called, or try to grab Genichimaru's head to smash him to the wall, which he missed when Genichimaru managed to flash him. Genichimaru says, "Quite interesting, my boy. Quite interesting. You're quite strong." This is where Aizen kind of lifts up his hand and says, "Stop there." This is where Aizen is surprised in, well, Issei's speed. This is where, well, he then actually appeared right in front of him much more faster than Issei can react. Issei said, "Damn it." This is where, well, mostly Aizen was about to grab his glasses just to see what's under his glasses, because it seems that every time Issei moves, his dark shade glasses were about to fall, but this is where Issei managed to like lift them back up. Mostly Issei. This is where, well, Aizen says, "Tell me, what do you have underneath those glasses?" This is where, well, he then kind of removes them fast enough from Issei, from him reacting, but this is where Issei managed to close both of his eyes. This is where he jumps away from mostly Aizen. This is where Aizen says, "It seems that you don't want to show me your eyes." "Fine, it's fine like that. But these glasses, they have a hint of spiritual, or mostly Ryasu, mostly bits of Ryasu that I know of someone. Tell me, were you trained by Urahara?" "I don't know who that is. I can only know about a man who I just describe as Hat and Claws." This is where, well, quite interesting. You don't know his name. Okay. So, tell me, boy, do you know any features from him? He mostly wears a hat, some clothes that look like he's homeless, and other stuff. This is where, well, I just kind of looking at him with just, a little smile. This is where, well, Issei said, "But other than that, I don't know what you want from me, Aizen-san." This is where, well, Aizen's surprised to be called San. This is where, well, Aizen says, "Quite formal you are." "Well, my mother did always tell me that I should be formal with people, even though if they're strangers or not." This is where, well, Aizen smiles and says, "And you won't tell me your last name. You're quite a strange boy. You didn't even pull out your sword against Genichimaru. You instead blocked it with such a strange power that I'd never seen. It wasn't Kido, it wasn't Hado, it wasn't any of that techniques. Actually, it did feel like you were using Ryasu to cover your hand, like if it was armor. Which is interesting. I've never seen that in my life." "You're quite an interesting boy. So tell me, boy, would you like to join me?" This is where Issei said, "No, not really. Why would I join you?" This is where, well, Issei, mostly Aizen, and even Genichimaru managed to hear a scream, but it wasn't a scream that was close. It was kind of far away. It was actually far away from this place, from what's it called, agent or mostly headquarters, because they are in headquarters. But this is where he says, "What was that?" This is where Issei rushes out of the almost rushes towards the entrance right now with a confused look. This is where Aizen and Genichimaru follows, but mostly not even attacking Issei because they're still very confused with the child. This is where when they kind of get out, but mostly Aizen still is inside, but Genichimaru like gets outside, and even Issei doesn't know where that scream came from, but mostly it was kind of a scream of like a man, but of course pain scream mostly. This is where Issei said, "What was the hell was that?" This is where Genichimaru kind of felt the spiritual pressure, and of course went to kind of sense where that came from. This is where he senses kind of like 5 people. One, well, mostly there are 6 in total, but one is on the ground clutching his jewels, and a female. This is where he's surprised about the female. He actually knows who exactly this person is from just spiritual pressure, or mostly Ryasu alone. This is where he says, "Interesting." So, this is where Genichimaru kind of speaks quietly from Issei, but loud enough for Aizen to hear. "So it seems that your, I should say, daughter might be causing trouble." This is where, well, mostly the brown haired man kind of narrows his eyes and says, "God damn it." This is where he says a name, this is where, well, he says, "Damn it, Kyoka." This is where, well, he kind of just frowns a little bit, but then says, mostly whisper towards, well, Genichimaru and saying, "What do you mean causing trouble?" "Well, it seems 5 to 6 people were trying to harass her, and she probably kicked one of them in the, well, jewels." This is where, well, Aizen narrowed his eyes with such a dangerous look. But this is where, when they kind of notice Issei moved, but this is where he moved in a blink of an eye. He disappears in an instant. This is where, well, both Genichimaru and Aizen widen their eyes with the speed and like precision that he actually disappears. It was in a blink of an eye. It was like light speed. He moved so fast. He appeared right in front of, well, what's it called? Someone who was actually like getting harassed by like 5 other people. These 5 people were actually about to like attack her, but this is where, well, mostly Issei appeared in a blink of an eye, and Issei says, "I don't really like people like you. Perish in an instant." This is where Issei's eyes showed to be a golden star. But this is where, well, something happened between all these men. Everyone already had cuts all around their body. Right now they were bleeding in an instant, falling down to the ground. This is where, well, they were all just on the ground, kind of dying slowly. This is where Issei landed in front of, well, mostly a female with purplish hair, and of course, where, well, she had purplish, lightish purplish hair, and of course, these purplish eyes. This is where, well, she kind of widened her eyes. She was wearing the kind of Shinigami outfit, mostly that of just a normal standard soldier. She didn't really have a lieutenant like badge or even look like a captain. This is where, well, she widened her eyes, and of course, she wasn't expecting someone to actually come into her saving. Even though she probably could have handled herself, she didn't have her Zanpakuto with her. So of course, is where, well, she wasn't scared. She wasn't the one to scream. It was mostly the guy that she kicked pretty hard in his family crown, and made sure that he never ever had kids ever again. That's where, well, she kind of widened her eyes seeing Issei. Mostly, well, not knowing his name, but just seeing a dark-haired blue boy actually appear right in front of her and easily just say perish. This is where all of them literally perished in front of her. Mostly they all had cuts so fast that she couldn't react fast enough to even know what happened. Mostly those cuts kind of remind her, mostly the precision and cuts remind her way too much of a certain man. A certain man that's right now kind of causing some trouble and manipulating through the shadows. This is where, well, she said, well, one word, "Thank you." This is where, well, Issei turns around straight towards her, and this is where, well, mostly towards her to see if she's fine, and this is where Issei noticed that she was actually fainting. mostly probably out of a struggle for battle or something. Issei decides to grab her, mostly in bridal style, and disappears in an instant, mostly taking her towards wherever, mostly far away from these scumbags, but yeah. But this is where, well, mostly Genichimaru just smiles and says, quite interesting. That boy easily took out five people from, well, squad. It seems that there were squad 11 members, and they were easily taken out. What other care in the world? Quite interesting. That boy is quite dangerous and scary at the same time. Don't you think, Aizen? This is where, well, Aizen smiles with such a genuine kind of smile, which it wasn't like an actual evil smile or anything, but it was actually a genuine smile. This is where, well, mostly Genichimaru says, and it seems like your daughter's fine. This is where, well, Aizen smiles kind of grin a little bit more. Well, that boy, and, never mind. I'll be going. I'll be going back to hidden, okay? Just understand about the plan. Don't you think the kid might cause a problem? I don't think so. Seems the kid is only looking for something. Wasn't actually trying to look for any evidence or anything. He said he's only looking for his only son, whoever that is. But whatever. This is where, well, mostly Aizen walks away, and this is where Genichimaru says, yeah, whoever that is. This is where, well, we go into a time skip of mostly Issei bringing her towards mostly some place that kind of looks like killers running around, and this is where Issei appeared right in front of them, saying here, and this is where, well, they were confused in who number he was from, and Issei disappeared in an instant without even letting them know who exactly he was. This is where, well, they take the person and just kind of realize that she's from squad, what's it called? This is where the person was actually from squad 3, mostly the intelligence gathering. But this is where, well, everyone else, well, mostly the two squad 4 members decide to just take her towards the healing, so she would actually take proper healing, but yeah. But we go into mostly Issei disappearing. They didn't know who exactly he was from the squad, but they only guessed that he might be from Squad 11. Then again, Squad 11 is quite ruthless half the time, so they don't really understand. They only guessed that he was probably from Squad 11 just because of his spiritual pressure a little bit. But yeah, it was quite dense before disappearing. So, well, Issei is right now running around, kind of dealing with more squad members of what's it called, different squads, and usually taking them out. Right now we're using his, what's it called, Conqueror's Ryotsu, that's what it's called. And this is where, well, Issei just keeps doing that. And of course, where, well, Issei gets towards, well, mostly, what's it called? He mostly gets towards somewhere that he kind of noticed someone having spiritual pressure that was similar to the same. That's why, well, or not similar to the same, he was just looking around, but yeah, he was also dealing with some captains, if you know what I mean. Yes, he kind of dealt with one captain that was pretty strong, that was also a dual-wielded blade user, like him. Mostly it was squad, what's it called? Mostly dealing with someone who's actually, he was the captain of Squad 8, which he did try to attack Issei just because he thought that Issei was dangerous. But Issei managed to escape from him, but yeah, just managed to get away from him with speed, which was incredible for a captain to ever see a child literally get away from him, but yeah. And this is where, well, Issei is now just looking around, kind of still trying to find people. Well, mostly from the description of Orihime, Chad, and what's it called? That one Quincy actually appearing in the Soul Society with his older cousin named, what's it called? Issei? Or not Issei, Ichigo, but yeah. That's where, well, Issei is looking around, but he can't really find anyone until he kind of met up with this one captain that was right now kind of chilling next to, well, Orihime. That's where, well, Orihime is saying, damn it. Well, mostly you're just thinking how to get towards Ichigo, and of course the whole kind of, well, helping her to get towards what to call the others to get towards, well, Urukia's kind of execution. Because the execution is going to happen today. Yeah. Issei managed to kind of find Orihime, and of course met up with mostly Kenpachi Zaraki Kenpachi's squad. This is where, well, Issei says, Orihime! This is where, well, Issei just jumps on her and just hugs her, and this is where everyone is quite shocked in who exactly he is. This is where, well, Kenpachi noticed his spiritual pressure is pretty powerful, but of course it seems to be being held back with some restriction. This is where, well, Orihime says, Issei, what are you doing here? Issei said, oh, I'm just here to find Ichi. This is where, well, mostly Orihime says, oh, right, I forgot about your cousin. But that doesn't, wait, what? Sorry about me kind of yawning. I'm kind of getting really tired. So, of course, I'm going to try to end it off at a part where I kind of like it at. But, yeah. But mostly was a call. Kenpachi would still get attacked by, well, two other captains. And this is where two of the lieutenants did try to also fight against Kenpachi. But this is where, well, two of Kenpachi's members actually appear. That being the bald hair and the other dude. But someone else appears right with what's it called, mostly Kenpachi's two other fellas. This is where it was none other than Issei. Issei grins and says, I want to fight. This is where, well, mostly Kenpachi says, too bad, I'll be fighting against the captains. Issei says, what do you mean? I want to fight too. This is where Issei kind of had this powerful spiritual pressure apparent around him. This is where both the captains right now got on guard in this Ryoka. This is where Kenpachi says, too bad, brat. I won't see you anytime unsheathing your blades. This is where Issei said, well, I did make a promise that I couldn't unsheath my blades anytime. Fine, I'll let you fight them. This is so mean. This is where, well, we'll see, well, Issei just jumps away and just watches Kenpachi fight against, well, the two kind of captains. Now, of course, Issei was clapping after seeing, well, mostly Kenpachi won. And Issei kind of just had stars in his eyes. Literally have stars in his eyes. Right now, kind of seeing each, well, mostly Zaraki in his battle in glory most of the time. This is where, well, Issei said, can I please join your squad? This is where, well, mostly Kenpachi's sweat drops as seeing Issei. But yeah, this is where Issei is really acting like a child. Because he is a child. This is where, well, Kenpachi says, weren't you going along with that orange hair girl and the others? Issei said, that is true, but I lost them, so I can't really find them. I have very bad sense of direction. Kenpachi swatch ups and just noticed Issei. Really admit that, but yeah. This is where, well, they're kind of just sitting there, Of course, Yorichi appears, but yeah. Now, of course, the whole battle between Ichigo and the others would still happen. Even the battle between him going against, what's it called, Byakuya. And, of course, after that, it's mostly Aizen appearing and other stuff. Now, of course, it's mostly during the whole time where Aizen kind of was getting rescued by the Mendo's Grande. This is where, well, he's chuckling saying, well, we'll be seeing each other later. This is where, well, mostly three people are being lifted up, but this is where someone appears. Mostly managed to get towards the top and says, Aizen. This is where, well, she screams out. This is where, well, Aizen narrows its eyes and says, Kyoko, what are you doing here? This is where Kyoko says, can't leave me, can you? This is where she starts crying. And of course, this is where, well, Aizen kind of looks away and says, I don't have time for taking care of you anymore. This is where she's crying and say, why? Why you like this? This is where, well, Aizen had to look away, but yeah. But mostly he looked away. This is where everyone can see that mostly Aizen and this girl seem to have some kind of relationship. Now, of course, they don't know much, but this is where, well, Issei said, ooh, you know what I should do? We go into Issei's POV, talking to Zaraki and also Yorichi. Maybe I can make us have a path straight and finding that powerful spiritual pressure. This is where, well, Kenpachi says, you can really think you can make a path? You won't do it, kid. This is where Issei right now just forgets about the whole promise and because he's right now so bored out of his mind. This is where Issei unsheaths one of his swords. It's this blue, well, mostly this lightish blue sword that has actually a a white blade. Mostly the blade itself is white, and this is where the handle is blue. This is where the blade itself started glowing with such powerful Ryatsu, this powerful pressure, and both Zaraki and also Yoriichi wind their eyes. This is where, well, people around the entire Soul Society wind their eyes with this powerful Ryatsu coming off of Issei's mostly sword and himself. This is where, well, restrictions are actually being lifted up from Issei's body entirely. And this is where, well, Issei said, he looks towards the car, mostly where he can sense where the Ryatsu should be at, the most powerful Ryatsu pressure. This is where Issei said, he says the name of his sword. This is where, well, Issei's eyes right now narrowed them so fast and right now kind of not narrow them, mostly target towards where the most powerful Ryatsu should be at. And this is where he then says, Shitsuatsu, shine so brightly. This is where, well, he then swings the sword once in front of him. A huge slash of light, of white, pure white light, right now goes straight forward. Of course, having a tint of blue, but right now rushing forward. This is where, well, the light sword, well, mostly the light slash right now makes a path straight towards, well, the kind of place where Aizen and the others would be at. Now, of course, every person that sees it tries to mostly get out of the way. Now, this is where, well, the slash itself is going forward and forward and forward until it kind of reaches towards Aizen's location, the others. This is where, well, mostly Yamamoto is kind of explaining about the whole fact of the whole Menos Grandes calling upon their own, and of course, those like shield things cannot be broken or anything. And this is where the slash appears and right now cuts down one of the kind of, well, unbreakable kind of Menos Grande's barrier. This is where it was cutting down mostly the blind dude kind of mostly way to get towards mostly Wake Mundo. This is where everyone wind their eyes, even Aizen, even was it called Genichimaru wind their eyes, seeing that slash easily just cut through it, just like if it was butter. This is where, well, everyone wind their eyes. This is where, well, mostly someone's still tearing up, but this is where, well, we go into Issei's POV, says, ta-da! This is where, well, Zaraki and Yoriichi says, okay, let's go then. This is where they're rushing straight towards, well, mostly the location. Now, of course, Pretty Boy is coming along because he already finished with his battle. And this is where, well, they managed to get towards the location. This is where, well, another kind of barrier appears around the blind dude, kind of lifting him up, but yeah, it's slower. This is where, well, mostly they kind of see Kenpachi, Yoriichi, and even Pretty Boy appear, but this is where a dark-haired blue boy appeared. This is where Issei kind of noticed what's it called, the purplish hair girl, the same one that he kind of helped a while ago, kind of is crying on the ground. This is where, well, Issei also then noticed, well, Ichi on the ground. This is where, well, Issei could have gone to Ichi's side or he could have gone to the girl's side. Which he picks the girl's side and says, are you okay? Why are you crying? This is where, well, she lifts it up and then sees Issei's kind of starry eyes right now look at her purplish eyes. This is where she then had a tint of blush right now on her face. Of course, she would stop crying. But this is where Issei said, sorry about this, but I need to go look at my older cousin. This is where Issei then appears right in front of Ichigo. And this is where, well, Issei says, Ichi, are you okay? This is where, well, Ichigo says, Issei, what are you doing here? Who the hell tell you to even get here to the Soul Society? Cone. That little lying fucking bastard stuff, little, This is where, well, Ichigo's literally cussing Cone out. This is where, oh, if Cone was here. This is where, well, Ichigo says, but how did you get to the Soul Society? Oh, that guy with the kind of green and white hat kind of helped me. Urahara, you say? Yeah? Net. Wait, how did he become a Soul Reaper? I don't know. Urahara helped me. I guess that's his name. I'm going to kill that bastard. I'm going to literally rip him into 2 pieces. I'm going to punch him in the face. This is where Issei said, well, I'm gonna go check on her back. This is where, well, Issei checks on, well, mostly Kaya, or, well, mostly Kill and says, "Are you okay?" This is where Kill nodded slowly, but of course hugging him. This is where, well, he says, there, really never have ever done this. This is where, well, mostly he then looks back up and sees Aizen. This is where he says, "Aizen," or mostly "Aizawa, what are you doing?" This is where, well, Aizen says, Sweat drops and says, "It's Aizen, kid. The name's Aizen. And, well, I'm leaving. Where do you think I'm going?" He says that, "Oh, you're going back home? Okay." This is where, well, she started crying more, the female. And this is where, well, Issei kind of says, I don't really know what is happening, but it might be having a dangerous situation here. "Ichi, what is happening?" This is where, well, Ichigo says, "Those guys are leaving." And a white light slash cut managed to cut that barrier thing, but we don't see another one. This is where, well, Moshi Yamamoto says, "Zaraki, was that you who did that cut?" This is where, well, Moshi Kabaji says, "Me? Oh no, it wasn't me." This is where, well, Issei said, "I see. So, does that mean that my sword was the only one to be able to cut this?" Fine. This is where, well, Issei pulls out both of his swords, and this is where everyone felt the spiritual pressure lift up from mostly Issei's body entirely. This is where, well, the spiritual pressure itself was literally rivaling that of God or something. This is where, well, Aizen winds his eyes, and this is where Issei's eyes narrow, being cold, and this is where Issei says, he says the names of his swords. This is where, well, he first says, this is where he unsheathes both of his blades, and this is where he says for the white blade, Shirasu, and for the black blade that's red, kind of named Antares. This is where, well, both blades right now explode with so much power, and this is where, well, both Aizen and Gin Ichimaru right now wind their eyes, thinking that they're probably not gonna survive this. This is where Aizen kind of smiles also still. But this is where, well, he says, "Still, your power is quite powerful, but can you be able to cut through this?" This is where Issei cuts through, well, mostly the one that's the blind dude is being lifted up, and this is where the blind dude says, "Wait, oh shit." He falls down to the ground, and this is where he says, "How am I keep getting easily defeated?" Issei was about to use it against Zakar, use both of his swords against, well, Aizen, until he felt his body becoming weakened. This is where he felt quite tired. Actually, the first slash he did was quite a powerful, like, slash. But this time he feels quite tired and other stuff. It's probably because of the restriction. This is where he falls down, being really tired. This is where he falls asleep. This is where everyone winds their eyes and says, "Ugh." That was kind of anticlimactic. This is where the girl gets scared and, of course, hugs him, making sure that he's fine. But this is where, well, Ichi says, "Issei, damn it." This is where Aizen says, "Well, we should be leaving now." Of course, this is where, well, mostly that is happening, but this is where I'm also gonna leave it off. I am also getting really fucking tired. I might come back later and might redo this, but no. But I'm getting really tired, so I'm gonna leave it off here. So have a good day, night, or something. Bye.